There is a kind of silence that heals, and a kind that harms. One grows from wisdom, the other from fear. In this space, we speak to those who walk the spiritual path with soft hearts and open hands. Welcome to Inner Moonlight, where truth is spoken like water, slow, clear, and kind. If this message finds you at the edge of a decision, let it be a light. Please like this video and subscribe so that more gentle souls can remember. Love does not mean losing ourselves, and compassion was never meant to protect cruelty. There is an old saying in Zen, a closed mouth isn't always quiet. Because silence, though it appears peaceful, carries many shapes. Sometimes silence is presence. Sometimes silence is patience. But other times, silence becomes permission. There will be people, often charming, often clever, who cause harm, not by accident, but by habit. And when confronted, they won't ask for understanding. They'll ask for silence. Don't make it a big deal. Let's keep this between us. Don't ruin the peace. But peace built on someone else's pain is not peace. It is performance. When someone asks you to stay quiet while they inflict harm on others or on you, they are not asking for harmony. They are asking for cover. They want your gentleness to become their shield. They want your spiritual path to keep them from facing theirs. And many of us, raised to be kind, to be calm, to avoid conflict, will feel the pull to obey. We will mistake silence for compassion. We will confuse stillness with goodness. But to remain silent in the presence of cruelty is to stand beside it. The Buddha never asked us to be passive. He asked us to be mindful. And mindfulness includes the courage to speak when truth is trembling behind the tongue. There is a time for soft speech, and there is a time for fierce truth. Truth that does not yell, but does not bow. When someone asks for your silence after they've hurt another, they are asking you to share in the karma of their actions. They are asking you to carry the weight they refuse to hold. This is how suffering spreads, not only through the one who causes harm, but through the ones too afraid to name it. But, dear one, you were not born to carry the burden of another's denial. You were not born to protect someone from the mirror they fear. Your silence may keep the moment comfortable, but it will disturb your soul, because deep inside, your heart knows the truth. And the heart, once awakened, does not return to sleep so easily. So, when they ask for your silence, pause. Ask yourself, am I protecting peace, or am I avoiding discomfort? Is this compassion, or is this fear dressed in soft robes? True compassion includes accountability. True peace does not demand suppression. It invites transformation. And transformation begins with truth. You can speak truth gently. You can hold boundaries lovingly. You can say, this isn't okay, without hatred. You can say, I won't stay silent, without shouting, but you must say it, because if not, your silence becomes a silence toward yourself. You silence your own knowing, you silence your own integrity, and each time you do, you drift a little further from the soul that once stood rooted in light. To stay silent in the presence of harm is to build a temple on broken stones. It may look beautiful, but it will never hold the weight of your spirit. So let yourself speak, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if the ones you love do not understand. You are not here to be agreeable, you are here to be aligned. And alignment means choosing what is right, even when it costs you the comfort of approval. The Buddha walked away from kingdoms, from illusions, from attachments, not because he hated them, but because he loved the truth more. We must walk, too, away from any relationship that asks us to trade our voice for their benefit, because in the end, your soul is not nourished by silence. It is nourished by truth, spoken in love. So stay away from people who ask for your silence after they've caused harm. They are not seeking healing. They are seeking shadows. And you, dear one, were born for the light. There is a quiet kind of fatigue that doesn't come from work, but from imbalance. The tiredness of giving and giving, while the other simply takes, not out of malice, but out of habit, not because you owe, but because you always have. There are people who won't ask for your hand. They'll ask for your light, your attention, your compassion, your insight, your space, your listening, your calmness when they fall apart. But when the time comes to sit beside your sorrow, they disappear like smoke. It's not that they don't care. It's that they only care when it's easy for them. And they will call you wise. They will call you their rock. They will say they feel so much better after talking to you. But you walk away carrying their storm. This is what the Buddha warned of when he spoke of right relationship, that in any bond there must be mutual presence, a shared energy, a circle of exchange. If you are always holding space for someone who never returns, what you're holding is not connection, it is a drain. We are not here to be others' emotional shelters while our own house collapses. We are not here to constantly pour into others while forgetting to drink. You can be kind, you can be compassionate, but your energy is sacred, and not everyone has earned the right to receive it, especially those who show up only when they need you, and vanish when you need them. Their absence is their truth, and that truth is hard to hold, especially for the gentle-hearted. You might think, but maybe they're going through something. Maybe they don't know how to show up. Maybe I'm being selfish. But there is a difference between understanding someone's pain and carrying it for them. Compassion does not mean depletion. Presence does not mean self-erasure. Some people have learned, sometimes unconsciously, to feed on the light of others. They come close when they're broken. They open up only when they're in need. They find calm in your voice, stillness in your presence, and then leave you in silence without asking how you are. And over time, you begin to dim, not suddenly, but subtly. You start speaking less because they never ask how you're doing. You stop reaching out because it's always you who checks in. You feel heavy, but can't explain why. You meditate, but feel drained. You rest, but wake up tired, because you're not tired from doing too much. You're tired from being alone in too many exchanges. This is when Buddhist wisdom reminds us, energy must flow, not just out, but back in. If the stream only flows one way, it becomes a flood, or it dries out. Relationships must be rivers, not vacuums. So notice the ones who ask for your energy, but not your presence. They want your comfort, but not your reality. They want your time, but not your truth. They want to be seen, but never see you. And that is not friendship. That is not love. That is not dharma. You were not created to be a lantern for others while standing alone in the dark. You were not meant to constantly hold space for those who would not even make room for your soul. Sometimes the most compassionate act is to step away, not with anger, but with awareness, not with blame, but with balance. To recognize, this person does not walk beside me. They sit beneath my light, but never offer theirs. And that is not a judgment. That is a truth. One you must honor if you wish to stay whole. You can still love them from afar. You can still wish them peace. But do not keep watering a connection that only grows in your garden, not theirs. Because eventually your roots begin to wither, and your soul knows it. So ask yourself, is my energy being respected? Is my presence being met? Is this connection making me lighter or lonelier? If the answer leaves a hollow in your chest, listen, because you deserve relationships that don't just need you, they see you, that don't just reach out when broken, but hold your hand when you tremble too, that don't just take from your river, but offer their own well when yours runs dry. Stay away from people who ask for your energy but never bring their presence, not out of spite, but out of self-honoring. This too is compassion. This too is practice. And in that practice, we return again and again to the truth. You are worthy of reciprocity, not because you demand it, but because it is the nature of balance, the rhythm of love, the dharma of relationships. Forgiveness is sacred, but sacred does not mean blind. There are people who will say they are sorry, not because they've changed, but because they want access again to your calm, to your care, to the comfort of being forgiven without the responsibility of transformation. They weep, but only in moments. They reflect, but only with words. They promise, but only with breath, not with action. And if you are gentle by nature, forgiveness may flow easily from your heart. You believe in second chances. You believe in compassion. You believe people can heal. And you are right. But even the Buddha did not heal Mara with kindness. He simply saw through him and remained unmoved. True forgiveness does not mean inviting harm back in. It means releasing yourself from the weight of hatred without abandoning the wisdom of memory. When someone asks for your forgiveness but refuses to confront their patterns, refuses to acknowledge their harm, refuses to walk a different path, they are not seeking healing. They are seeking relief from discomfort. And too often we mistake this discomfort for change. But remorse is not transformation. Guilt is not growth. Apologies are not amends. Forgiveness without accountability becomes a loop. They hurt, you forgive. They hurt, you forgive. Each time you lose a little more of yourself. Each time your nervous system flinches. Each time your soul whispers, "This isn't safe." Yet the pressure to forgive is loud. In spiritual circles, in families, in relationships, as if not forgiving makes you bitter, as if boundaries are a failure of faith. But listen closely. There is no virtue in letting someone hurt you repeatedly because they use your compassion as a pass. The Dharma teaches that karma is not just action, it is also repetition. If someone continues to harm without reflection, they are reinforcing their karma. And if we continue to excuse it, we are enabling it. Sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is not forgive quickly, but wait, watch, observe the fruit of their apology. Is it humility? Is it silence and responsibility? Is it space for you to heal without pressure? Is it change? Or is it just a reset, a wish to restore comfort without any cost to their ego? Real change is slow. It is unglamorous. It is often invisible. It looks like doing the work even when no one is watching. So if they ask for forgiveness but still shift blame, if they ask for closeness but still cross your boundaries, if they say, "I've changed," but your body still feels fear in their presence, listen to that wisdom. Forgiveness is not a door, it is a gate. And some must remain outside until they are ready to carry the weight of their own actions. This is not revenge, it is responsibility. And it is deeply Buddhist. The Buddha taught compassion with clarity. He never asked us to sacrifice our well-being to seem spiritually evolved. He asked us to see things as they are. So when forgiveness is asked, pause. Feel your heart. Feel your breath. Feel your body. Ask, is this person safe? Have they honored their words with action? Am I forgiving from love or from fear of confrontation? Forgiveness given from fear is not compassion. It is a contract with your own pain. But when forgiveness flows after truth has been faced, after humility has been shown, after real shifts begin to bloom, then forgiveness becomes holy. It becomes a bridge, not a trap. So stay away from people who ask for your forgiveness as a shortcut, as a way to skip the inner work, as a spiritual costume for unchanged behavior. You can bless them, you can pray for their healing, but you do not have to let them close again until their soul starts walking the path they claim. You are not unkind for protecting your peace. You are not cold for waiting to trust again. You are not unforgiving because you need more than words. You are awake, and the awakened heart does not forget love, but it no longer sacrifices itself to prove it. Time is not just measured in minutes, it is measured in presence. And presence, dear one, is your most precious offering. Every moment you give is a piece of your life you'll never reclaim. Every conversation, every shared silence, every glance is time unfolding as soul. So when someone asks for your time, but treats it as disposable, when they show up late, half listening, distracted, when they cancel, reschedule, ghost, or speak without truly seeing you, they are not simply being forgetful, they are disregarding your life force, and you, with your open heart, may try to understand. You give grace, you excuse, you convince yourself they're just busy, maybe they didn't mean it. But here is the truth. We always make time for what we value, even in chaos, even in difficulty. Presence is a choice. So if someone asks for your time but does not honor your energy, they are not requesting connection. They are requesting convenience. And there is a difference. In the Dharma, time is not linear. It is karma moving through breath. Every instant is an imprint. And when you give your time, you are planting seeds in the field of your being. So ask gently, what am I planting here? Is this conversation watering my peace or draining my clarity? Do I feel seen in this space or small? There are people who will come to you when they're bored, when they're lonely, when they crave entertainment, validation, or emotional supply. They will take hours of your attention, but offer no real reflection, no curiosity, no reciprocity, and each time you will leave the exchange feeling emptier, quieter, more confused about your worth. This is not your fault, but it is your signal to return, to recenter, to protect the sacred rhythm of your days, because not everyone deserves your time. Not everyone has earned your gaze. Not every invitation is a door to walk through. Sometimes boundaries are the highest form of devotion, not to others, but to yourself. To say, I am not a background character in someone else's story. My presence is not a placeholder for their ego. My minutes matter because my life matters. This is not pride, this is clarity. There are people who will say, "You've changed. You're distant now. You're so sensitive." And that's okay. Let them misunderstand, because what they're really saying is, "You've stopped letting me waste your time." And that shift, that quiet reclaiming, is the beginning of inner sovereignty. The Buddha taught that attention is the root of awakening. Where your attention goes, your life follows. So why give your attention to those who treat it like air, necessary but never appreciated? Why give your mornings, your thoughts, your energy to conversations that leave you feeling unseen? You are not here to be someone's emotional calendar. You are not here to fill the silence for those who fear it. You are not here to say yes to every request, especially when it costs you your presence. You are here to live intentionally, and intention begins with discernment. To know the difference between a sacred request and a selfish demand, a real connection and a habitual distraction, mutual respect and masked entitlement. So, stay away from those who ask for your time but never offer their full presence in return, not because you hate them, not because you're angry, but because your time is a gift, not a guarantee. Let your minutes go to gardens that grow. Let your words land where hearts are open. Let your light rest in places that honor it. You are not too much for asking to be respected. You are not ungrateful for walking away. You are not cold for choosing your peace. You are simply learning what monks and mystics have always known. Your time is your temple. Guard its doors. Let only love enter barefoot. Let only presence light the candles, and let silence, when shared with the right souls, become the most beautiful sound of all. Some will come into your life not to walk beside your truth, but to bask in your light. They'll be drawn to your calm, to your wisdom, to the peace you carry like incense in your voice, and they'll say you soothe them, that your presence feels safe, that your energy lifts something heavy from their chest. But then one day, you'll speak a truth they didn't want to hear, and the warmth will vanish, their face will shift, their tone will harden. The same soul who praised your clarity will now say, "You've changed," or "Why are you making things so complicated?" Because they were never here for your truth. They were here for the comfort your light gave them. So long as it asked nothing, so long as it never disagreed, so long as it didn't require them to look inward. And this, dear one, is where the path diverges. Because you cannot keep shining for people who ask you to dim the very source of your glow. It's like watering a plant while standing in your own drought. There is a kind of spiritual gaslighting that happens when you're told you're too intense, too deep, too much, simply because you choose to speak with honesty. But let me remind you, truth does not need to shout. It does not need to fight. It simply stands, unmoved, soft, certain. And you are not unkind for carrying it. You are not unloving for naming what is real. In Buddhist teachings, truth is seen as medicine. It may taste bitter, but it heals. So when someone wants your light but not your truth, what they truly want is anesthesia, not awakening. They want to be soothed, not stirred, entertained, not examined, held, but never mirrored. And that, over time, becomes a quiet violence to your soul. Because to keep shining without the right to be real is to become a mask, beautiful, hollow, and alone. You are not a candle to be burned for someone else's comfort. You are a presence, whole, radiant, sovereign, and your truth is part of your light. It is the heat beneath the glow, the spine beneath the smile, the knowing behind the kindness. So be wary of those who say, "You're such a light," while flinching every time you speak your shadow. Be mindful of those who call you peaceful. Only when you agree. Because peace without truth is not peace. It is performance. And performance is lonely. Your light is not just beauty. It is boundary. It is clarity. It is your spiritual pulse. To dim that is to exile yourself from the very self you've worked so hard to meet. So stay away from people who want the benefits of your energy but reject the wholeness of your being. Let them go, not with spite, but with sacred stillness. You do not need to explain. You do not need to argue. You do not need to convince anyone to honor your wholeness. You simply need to stand, softly, bravely, unapologetically, and trust. Those meant for your path will not only love your light, they will listen to your truth, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it challenges them, even when it humbles the illusion. Because real love is not built on convenience, but on truth held in tenderness. You are here not just to be liked. You are here to live aligned, to be rooted in what is real, to be gentle in what is hard, to be unwavering in what is sacred. And so we end where all true journeys return, with truth and with peace. We have seen what happens when our voice is asked to go silent, when our energy is drained, when forgiveness is exploited, when time is dismissed, and when our light is only loved conditionally. Now we know we can be kind and still walk away. We can be compassionate and still draw lines. We can be light, but not without truth. This is the path of inner moonlight, not to shine blindly, but to shine whole, gently, wisely, fully. The kind of light that never asks itself to shrink again.